After the girl got up, she rubbed the sleep out of her eyes, and she wept until she was exhausted. She decided to set out on her way, and she walked many, many days, until she came to a lofty crag. Under it sat an old woman, who played with a gold apple which she tossed about. The girl asked her if she knew the way to the prince, who lived with his stepmother in the castle that lay east of the sun and west of the moon, and who was to marry the princess with a nose 3 inches long. "How did you come to know about him?" asked the old woman. "But maybe you are the girl who ought to have had him." Yes, she was. So, it's you, isn't it?" said the old woman. "Well, all I know about him is that he lives in a castle that lies east of the sun and west of the moon. Either you'll come, late or never, but still you may have the loan of my horse, and on him you can ride to my next neighbor. Maybe she'll be able to tell you. And when you get there, just give the horse a switch under the left ear and beg him to be off home. And this gold apple you may take with you." So she got upon the horse and rode a long, long time, till she came to another crag, under which sat another old woman with a gold carding comb. The girl asked her if she knew the way to the castle that lay east of the sun and west of the moon. And she answered, just like the old woman, that she knew nothing about it, except it was east of the sun and west of the moon. "And either you'll come never or late, but you shall have the loan of my horse to my next neighbor. Maybe she will be able to tell you all about it. And when you get there, just switch the horse under the left ear and beg him to be off home." And this old woman gave her the golden carding comb. "It might be something that you will find useful later," she said. So the girl got up on the horse and rode far, far away, and a very weary time. And so at last she came to another great crag, under which sat another old woman, spinning with her gold spinning wheel. Her too she asked if she knew the way to the prince, and where the castle was that lay east of the sun and west of the moon. So it was the same thing all over again. "Maybe it's you who ought to have had the prince," said the woman. Yes, it was. But she too didn't know the way any more than the other two. East of the sun and west of the moon it was, she knew, and that was all. "And either you'll come late or never, but I'll lend you my horse, and then I think you best ride to the east wind and ask him. Maybe he knows those parts and can blow you either. But when you get to him, you need only to give the horse a switch under the left ear, and he'll trot home himself." And so too she gave her the gold spinning wheel. "Maybe you'll find use to it," said the old woman. Then off she rode for many, many days, a very, very weary time, before she got to the east wind's house. But at last she did reach it, and then she asked the east wind if he could tell her the way to the prince who dwelt east of the sun and west of the moon. Yes, the east wind has often heard tell of it, the prince and the castle, but he couldn't tell the way, for he had never blown so far. "But if you will, I'll go with you to my brother the west wind. Maybe he knows, for he's much stronger. So, if you will just get on my back, I will carry you there." Yes, she got on his back, and I should just think they went briskly along. So when they got there, they went into the west wind's house, and the east wind said that the girl he had brought was the one who ought to have had the prince who lived in the castle, east of the sun and west of the moon. And so she had set out to seek him, and now he had come with her, and would be good to know if the west wind knew how to get to the castle. "Nay," said the west wind, "so far I've never been blown so far, but if you will, I'll go with you to our brother the south wind, for he's much stronger than either of us, and he has flapped his wings far and wide. Maybe he'll tell you. You can get on my back, and I'll carry you to him." Yes, she got on his back, and so they travelled to the south wind, and weren't so very long on the way, I should think. When they got there, the west wind asked him if he could tell her the way to the castle that lay east of the sun and west of the moon, for it was she who ought to have had the prince who lived there. "You don't say so! That's her!" he said. "Well, I've blasted about in most places in my time, but so far I have never blown as far. But if you will, I'll take you to my brother, the North Wind. He is the oldest and strongest of the whole of us, and if he doesn't know where it is, you'll never find anyone in the world to tell you. You can get on my back, and I'll carry you there." Yes, she got on his back, and away they went from his house at a fine rate. And at this time, she wasn't long on the way. So when they got to the North Wind's house, he was so big and wild and cross, cold puffs came from him a long way off. "Blast you both! What do you want?" he roared out, ever so far off, so it struck them with icy shiver. "Well," said the South Wind, "you needn't be so foul-mouthed, for here I am, your brother, the South Wind, and here is the girl who ought to have had the prince, who dwell in the castle that is east of the sun and west of the moon, and now she wants to ask you if you ever been there, and can tell her the way, for she would like to go and find him again." "Yes, I know well enough where it is," said the North Wind. "Once in my life I blew an aspen leaf there, but I was so tired I couldn't blow a puff for ever so many days after. But if you really wish me to go there, and you aren't afraid to come along with me, I'll take you on my back and see if I can blow you there." Yes, with all her heart, she must and would go up there if it were possible in any way. And as for fear, however madly she went, she wouldn't be at all afraid. "Very well then," said the North Wind, "but you must sleep here tonight, for we must have the whole day before us, if we will get there at all." Early next morning, the North Wind woke her, and puffed himself up, and blew himself out, and made himself so stout and big it was gruesome to look at him. And so off they went high and up through the air, as if they would never stop until they got to the world's end. Down here below there was such a storm. It threw down long tracts of wood and many houses, and when it stepped over the great sea, ships floundered in hundreds. So they tore on and on. No one can believe how far they went. And all the while they still went over the sea, and the North Wind got more and more weary, and so out of breath he could scarcely bring a puff, and his wings drooped and drooped, until at last he sunk so low that the crest of the waves dashed over his heels. "Are you afraid?" said the North Wind. No, she wasn't. But they weren't very far from land, and the North Wind had still so much strength left in him that he managed to throw her up on the shore under the windows of the castle, which lay east of the sun and west of the moon. But then he was so weak and worn out, he had to stay there and rest many days before he could get home again.